Illinois and Nebraska. Illinois going to Nebraska. Nebraska, 8.5-point favorite at the crib. I love so much that this is 8 Eastern on a Friday night. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Friday nights now been throwing us some lobs here when it comes to the big time matchups. Kansas State and Arizona last week, a lot of fun. Nebraska fans, Illinois fans, whoever you're a fan of, when it comes to the greatest sport on the face of planet Earth, make sure you're subscribed right here to the On3 YouTube channel. We appreciate y'all for being a part of this college football sicko community. This prediction is brought to you by our friends over at Prize Picks. Daily fantasy, made easy, easy to play, easy to understand, easy to withdraw what you win. When you use code HARDCOUNT now at prizepicks.com, $5 in lineups gets you $50 in promo funds. Great way to support the show using that code. We appreciate y'all so much in advance for that. How do you play? Super easy. You pick 2 or more player projections, pick the more or less on that. You got a lineup, you're off to the races. Back to the prediction. Nebraska right now is rolling. 3-0. Vibes are immaculate. They should be. I said this many times. We talk about Nebraska. You feel like for the first time you weren't imagining it the whole time. You weren't just telling yourself that Nebraska was close and then every single year they end up losing like a million close games. They're 3-0 right now for the first time since 2016, which just so happens to also be the last time Nebraska made a bowl game. So it's all working. Like I said, vibes are great. The question, though, within this game for Nebraska is, okay, well, success now for this football team is a new thing. And success is sort of a funny stimulant, right? It can cause you to take your eye off the ball and cause you to believe things about yourself that aren't actually true. And you sort of forget about what actually got you to be successful. How do you handle that? This is the spot now against a Brett Bielema coached Illinois team. We're going to find out. Because Illinois now, they're also ranked. We got a ranked matchup on Friday night on Fox. I love this so much. Illinois, don't look now. They're also 3-0. It's a Brett Bielema coached football team. They're going to be physical. They're going to punch you in the mouth. They're going to play downhill on defense, play a lot of man coverage. And also, Illinois, you think about like Bielema ball, you think about how often he runs the football. They've actually had a lot of balance, has Illinois, to this point in the season. Right around 51 to 48% pass to run. Luke Altmaier now been pretty efficient. Like Luke Altmaier is a massive reason at the quarterback position why they are 3-0. But going back to what I said about Illinois playing man coverage, that's really the matchup that I cannot wait to watch. I think that on the lines of scrimmage, that'll be a massive part of this. But like for Nebraska, the next evolution of what they want to become is how much they can maximize Dylan Rhule and pushing the ball downfield. That was a big reason why, those transfer portal wide receivers wanted to come to Nebraska was because of Dylan Rhule and because of what they're going to be, I think, going forward here. So as they start to kind of hit that next gear in this game against Illinois, this will be the best secondary Dylan Rhule and this wide receiving room has played against. All right, so Illinois is averaging 2.5 takeaways a game right now. I know we're only 3 games in, so yes, those numbers are a little bit skewed, but even with that being said, the decision-making of Dylan Rhule against Illinois is going to be, under a microscope. Cannot run, cannot hide. It's going to be a massive, massive spot for them because of the Friday night spot, but also because of what Illinois' defense is going to bring to the table. They're just going to say, hey, our guys are better than your guys. So far, like I said, 2.5 takeaways a game. That's been the case for them, being 3-0. They gave Kansas fits. You go back and watch that Kansas game. It was brutal. They were all up in their grill. Kansas honestly had I felt like a better offensive output than Illinois that day, but Illinois just kept finding ways to take the football away and create points for their team that way. So overall now, if Dylan Rhule is able to stay patient, stay consistent in his decision-making, Nebraska's going to have more than a puncher's chance. That's why they're 8.5-point favorites. But with that being said, again, you turn it over, give Luke Altmaier extra bullets. Maybe you have to watch a fair amount of this game because they start having success on the ground because you've left your defense out there for so long. Like, that would be, I think, the situation you want to avoid if you're Nebraska. Now, for Nebraska, I think that the trenches do ultimately favor them. As long as they're not out there for an extended period of time, they should be in relatively good shape. In this game last year, that Nebraska won, one of the 5 games they won, they only allowed 21 yards rushing. Now, again, you don't copy and paste last year's team to this year's team, but even with that being said, I think that's something that you are probably mindful of if you're Illinois. You want to run the football, that's true, but Zachary Franklin, the transfer from UTSA to Ole Miss and now Illinois, I think he's the guy that you keep an eye on if you're watching this game for Illinois, because he to me is like a big play wide receiver, great catch radius, had a sweet like one-handed stick 'em kind of grab against Kansas. I think if Illinois is going to win this game, they got to find a way to have some explosives. Maybe it's a pass to run situation, kind of loosen up the box a little bit and then run the football. Zachary Franklin's going to be a massive part of trying to get the numbers they want to run the football against. So that's kind of the matchup perspective of this whole thing. But ultimately, at the end of the day, like what we said about Nebraska is really how I feel about this game. It really is a litmus test for how far along are they in doing things the Matt Rhule way. Because the Matt Rhule way is you just say, okay, what's next? Let's go to the next thing. Let's dominate that, and then we'll go to the next thing. Like you have like just a 1-0 mentality every single day at practice, for the game itself, and then you move on to the next thing. On paper, Nebraska is the more talented team. Outside of Dylan Rhule, they are the more experienced team. But again, if you don't handle success the right way, take your foot off the gas when it comes to preparation. You look at Illinois, you say, oh, we beat them last year, and this is a better team this year. We should roll these guys. I'm just saying now, it's a Friday night. We all know the unofficial science of college football is weird things happen on Friday nights. If it's a Saturday, it's a noon kick, maybe you feel different. Friday night. All right? So, this is also, with it being a Brett Bielema coach team, they will get after you, especially if you give them some room to breathe. I think Nebraska maybe has a slow start in this game because it's Friday night, because of the short week, because of all the things we said about Illinois, because of them handling success. But I do think ultimately Nebraska gathers themselves, gets their footing. In true Big Ten kind of fashion, they win a 24-13 ball game at home to stay unbeaten, move to 4-0, and obviously be even more highly ranked in the following poll.